There is a moment when everything you have been holding on to privately, the hope you stopped saying out loud because it had been disappointed too many times, the version of your life you kept believing in despite having very little evidence to justify the belief, begins to move. Not dramatically, not with the announcement you might have imagined, but with a quiet, unmistakable momentum that you can feel before you can see it. That moment is closer than you think, and what you do in the days immediately preceding it matters more than you have probably been told. Most conversations about breakthrough focus on the arrival, on what it looks like when the thing finally comes through, but very little attention gets paid to the specific window right before the arrival. The hours and days when something is moving toward you that has not yet become visible, when your choices and your posture and the quality of your internal orientation are shaping the landing zone for what is coming. That window is where you are right now, and understanding what it requires of you changes everything about how you inhabit it. The first thing the window before breakthrough requires is a specific kind of clarity about what you actually want. This sounds obvious. Most people assume they know what they want, but wanting and being clear about wanting are different things. Wanting is the emotional state of desiring something. Clarity is the precise, specific, unambiguous knowledge of what you are reaching for, knowledge grounded enough to recognize it when it arrives in a form slightly different from what you imagined, and to distinguish it from counterfeits that offer the feeling without the substance. Most people are operating with wanting rather than clarity. They want things to get better without being specific about what better actually means for their particular life. They want more without being clear about more of what, organized how, toward which actual purpose. That vagueness is not harmless. It creates a kind of static in the signal you are sending into the world and into the spiritual realm, a blurred frequency that attracts blurred results. Breakthrough does not arrive as a general improvement of conditions. It arrives as a specific thing in a specific direction for a specific person who is specific enough about what they need to recognize it when it comes. So before anything else in this window, get specific. Not anxious or controlling, but genuinely clear. What specifically are you believing for? What does it look like in concrete detail? What would its arrival change in practical terms about your daily life? That clarity is not limiting, it is focusing. And focused faith has always produced differently than diffuse hope. If this is finding you at the right moment, subscribe so these words can keep reaching you through what unfolds next. That matters more than it might seem. The second thing this window requires is the management of your own inner atmosphere. The inner atmosphere is what you are carrying internally on any given day, the quality of your emotional and spiritual weather. And it is not simply a consequence of what is happening externally. It is something you have genuine influence over, through the choices you make about what you attend to, what you speak over yourself and your situation, and what you allow to take up residence in your thinking. In the window before breakthrough, the inner atmosphere tends to be tested. Fear that seemed manageable becomes louder. Doubt that had quieted finds new material to work with. Old stories about why this might not work out resurface with new urgency. This is not random. It is the predictable pressure of a breakthrough approaching, the last significant resistance before a genuine shift. And how you manage your inner atmosphere during this pressure determines what you are capable of receiving when the pressure passes. The practice is specific. Every morning in this window, before the day has its say, choose what your inner atmosphere is going to be. Not by suppressing fear or pretending doubt does not exist, but by deliberately orienting toward what is true rather than what is threatening. Speak over your situation from the most accurate available perspective, not toxic positivity that ignores real challenges, but genuine faith that holds real challenges alongside the reality of who is working on your behalf. What you cultivate internally in the morning tends to determine what is available to you throughout the rest of the day. The third thing this window requires is radical generosity. Not as a formula for releasing what you want to receive. Transactional giving misses the point entirely. but as the genuine expression of a heart that has made peace with open hands. Generosity in the window before breakthrough is a declaration of faith enacted with the body rather than only held in the mind. It says, with action rather than words, that you are not operating from scarcity, that you trust the source, that what you have is not the limit of what is available to you, and therefore holding it tightly is not necessary. This declaration, made genuinely and consistently, reorganizes something in the interior. It realigns the operating assumption from not enough to already held by enough. And that realignment changes what you are capable of receiving, because a person operating from genuine abundance is simply available for abundance in ways that a person operating from scarcity cannot be, regardless of how sincerely they want it. Find a specific expression of generosity in this window, something that costs enough to be real, something that requires genuine trust to give, not for the purpose of triggering a transaction, but for the purpose of enacting, with your actual choices, the truth you are trying to live from. The fourth thing is what might be called active expectation, holding the attitude of someone who is watching for the arrival rather than wondering whether it will come. There is an enormous practical difference between hoping something will happen and expecting it to arrive. Hope maintains the possibility. Expectation prepares for the reality. And the preparation that expectation produces creates conditions that hope alone does not. Active expectation looks like specific readiness. If what is coming involves a new opportunity, having done the preparation that the opportunity will require rather than waiting to prepare until after it arrives. If what is coming involves a new relationship or connection, having become the person capable of sustaining that connection rather than planning to do that work after the connection appears. If what is coming involves expanded capacity in any area, having stretched toward that capacity now rather than planning to grow into it later. The window before breakthrough is not waiting room. It is preparation room, and what you prepare in it determines what you can actually receive when the door opens. The fifth thing this window requires is protection of your focus. Breakthrough approaches tend to coincide with an unusual amount of distraction. Noise from other people's opinions pulls toward urgency that is not actually urgent, invitations into conversations and situations that would consume exactly the attention needed for what is actually important. This is not conspiracy. It is the predictable friction that accompanies any significant movement forward. And protecting your focus, not anxiously, not defensively, but with the calm clarity of someone who knows what this season requires, is one of the most strategic things available to you. What gets your attention in this window is what gets shaped by it. Be intentional. The people whose voices you allow into your thinking during this period matter. The content you consume matters. The conversations you choose to enter and the ones you choose to leave matters. Not because you need to create a hermetically sealed environment, but because focus is a finite resource, and what is approaching deserves the quality of attention that comes from having protected it. There is a link in the description where you can support this project if it has been meeting you in the right moments. What is given toward it freely keeps this reaching people in exactly these windows before something significant shifts. That door is open if it calls to you. The sixth thing is gratitude practiced with unusual consistency. Not gratitude as an emotion that visits when circumstances cooperate. That gratitude is real, but it requires no faith. Gratitude as a deliberate choice to acknowledge what is already present, what has already been given, what has already been survived, what has already been built through everything walked through so far. That gratitude, practiced in the window before arrival, creates a specific receptivity. It opens something that resistance keeps closed. There is a practical dimension to this. Gratitude that is felt but not expressed tends to remain private, and therefore tends to remain theoretical. Gratitude that is expressed, spoken out loud, written down, communicated to the one it is directed toward, tends to settle more deeply into the body and into the operating assumptions. Find a daily practice of expressed gratitude in this window. Specific, particular, genuine acknowledgement of what is already there. That practice will change the quality of what you are able to receive when what is coming finally lands. The window you are in is not going to last indefinitely. Windows have a particular quality of limited duration. They are open while the conditions are aligned, and then the moment passes. What you do in this specific stretch of time, with these specific practices, in this specific orientation, matters in a way that is distinct from the ordinary passing of days. You are not simply waiting. You are in active preparation for a landing. And the landing zone you are preparing will shape what is capable of arriving in it. Get specific about what you want. Manage your inner atmosphere with intentionality. Practice generosity from genuine trust. Hold active expectation that prepares rather than simply hopes. Protect your focus. Practice gratitude that is expressed rather than merely felt. These are not techniques for manipulating outcomes. They are the practices of a person who has genuinely understood what this window is and is choosing to inhabit it fully rather than pass through it without realizing what was available. The moment is closer than it feels. What is coming has been worth everything that preceded it, and the window you are standing in right now is the final stretch of the distance between you and it. Inhabit it fully. What you do here matters, and you are more ready for what is coming than the difficulty of this window has been suggesting.